Okay, so today I am back for another live. As usual, I'm going to be providing as much value and information as I can to help you solve this chronic back pain you might be in. So today I'm going to be answering your questions. So if you have them, I want you to drop them in the comments so I can give you those answers. But in the meantime, I started doing these lives because I really found that a lot of people, sometimes you're scrolling and you're wondering what's going on. Because I remember when I remember the moment laying there on the ground, scrolling through YouTube. I used to lie down on my stomach because that's what felt good. And I'm just trying to figure out what am I supposed to do? What do I need to do? How am I supposed to do it? And truly, I was lost. Thankfully, I found some cool, YouTube people who helped me out. And now I guess it's full circle because I want to be that YouTube person for you. So I never really chatted with anyone live, unfortunately. But again, I was able to watch videos. I was able to get the knowledge, information. I was able to try things. And I mean, at the end of the day, it helped me. And I want to pay that forward. And if you haven't figured it out already, it's my personal mission to help people who are suffering from chronic back pain. And really, if that's you and you feel like, hey, you know what, I've tried everything, I'm at my wit's end, I don't know what to do, I'm here to maybe tell you what to do or give you a little bit of hope or inspire a change of mindset in you. And so that's why I'm here. Okay, so if you have questions, just drop them in the comments, and I'll answer the questions as they come in. Okay, but I'm going to answer just a few common ones that I see all the time. So one of the big questions I get all the time is, how long is this going to last? Right? That's such a common one, and the answer is very simple. I don't know, but it's tough because you're struggling, you're dealing with pain, your life's been taken away from you, and you really don't know what to do. So you're thinking is this going to go away? Now, typically, if you have sciatica, I think it's something it can go away as quickly as 6 weeks, 6 months, sometimes a year. That's what doctors will tell you and stuff. But the biggest factor, and here's what a lot of times you don't hear, the biggest factor in your actual recovery is how you move around, is what you actually do, is how you treat your spine. And so the term spine hygiene is kind of hygiene for your hair, your teeth, your body. If you didn't brush your teeth every single day, obviously bad things happen eventually, right? It wears you down. And so if you don't wash your hair, it gets dirty. And so once your back is in this situation, once you have a disc bulge, something that's pressing on the nerve, every movement that you do moving forward throughout the day is going to have some form of effect on it, whether it be positive or neutral or negative. And you want to remove as many negative inputs or negative pieces of movement as you can. And that all starts with you actually learning what's causing the negative movements, or what are the negative movements, I should say. And so a lot of times people will say, well, I don't even know why I have pain. I don't know where my back pain is coming from. It seems completely random. What should I do? Right? And if that's you, what I would encourage you to do is to do a little bit of a lifestyle audit. Figure out what the things that you do in your life cause pain, and then literally write them down. Okay, and then once you have this list of things that cause you pain, what I want you to do then is to think about modifying them, and or not doing them at all if possible, right? So if you know that every time that you have to I don't know, sweep, for example, well, for the short time being, you might not be able to sweep, and hopefully you have other people in your life that can help you out with that, right? If every time you got to go take the garbage out, and you're pulling it and stuff like that, and after that your back's sore, even if you can do it and you can get through, it's keeping you stuck. This is what's keeping you stuck in pain. And this is the thing that I tell people is you can't keep doing the things that are going to keep causing you pain. Okay, that's so important. And so even if it's just a little bit, you're like, oh, why is my back hurt so much? Why can't I get out of pain? Well, the answer is you keep doing things that keep you stuck in pain. Now, just by stopping, that doesn't mean your pain is going to go away overnight. So you also have to be realistic in that, like, your body does take time to heal. And so you have to give it time to heal. If you do that and you stop picking the scab as it is, and you have a scab on your hand, you have a cut, and you just keep picking it. It takes longer to heal, and that's bleeding and stuff. It heals poorly, right? You don't want that. So you got to stop picking the scab of your back, okay? And that all starts with the way you move. On the other side of it, it can be the actual things that you do that could be building you up, okay? So there's negative things, and then there's positive things, and then there's like neutral things, right? And so another thing that a mistake I see people make with the back pain is they've been told that walking is good. So they're like, oh man, walking is good for my back pain. Well, I'm going to walk like crazy. I'm going to walk, for the Americans out there, I'm going to walk 10 miles a day. I'm going to walk 20 kilometers, like just insane stuff. Because they said, well, it's good for me, right? But they start having pain, and then they just keep walking because they're not listening to their body. And so just because something is good, it doesn't, like, there's always a level of diminishing returns. A diminishing return is meaning, like, I can drink water, I need to, but if I drink too much water, I can actually cause brain damage. It can kill me. So there's a level of diminishing returns for everything, even things that are good, even things that are required. And so when it comes to back pain recovery, if you are using running, for example, walking, for example, yeah, walking is good. It's going to provide movement in the area, right? It's going to give blood flow. It's going to lower inflammation in those lower lumbar discs. It's great until it isn't. And so maybe you can only walk for 5 minutes. Maybe the first 5 minutes feels great, and then everything after that, it starts to tighten up. You need to stop. That's your level of capacity. That's all you can handle for now. And if you respect your level of capacity, guess what? You can build more. But if you push through pain and you say, well, it's fine, I can walk another 5 minutes, I can walk another 10 minutes, and you push, and then at the end you're all tight and sore, and then you're like, oh, it's fine, I needed to do that because walking is good for me. And then the next day you wake up and you're in more pain, or 2 days later you're in more pain. Well, you know why. But the thing is, you may be caught in the trap of just listening blindly to information rather than just trusting your body, right? Or listening to your body. And sometimes for some people that's a skill. I would say for a lot of us that's a skill, learning how to listen to our body. Because for the most part we're very most of us, and I this is what I was the type of person, I didn't listen to my body, right? I'd push through pain and discomfort. I got to get this workout in and just get it done. And it took me to the point of hitting rock bottom for me to actually listen. And unfortunately for a lot of us, that's the case. But if you are rock bottom right now and you're listening to this, it's time to start listening to your body. Okay, it's time to start checking in with your body. It's time to start trusting your body, right? And you may be thinking right now, like, all I want my body to do is shut up because it hurts so much. I'm in so much pain. And that's understandable. However, at some point, you're going to have to start listening, because if your body hurts, that's you. You hurt. And that means that something needs to change, okay? All right. So like I said, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. I'm here to answer your questions. I'm here to give you the guidance. So if you're watching right now, let's hear the questions. Let's hear them. Because again, sometimes it's just one little piece of information that can give you an aha moment, right? Something where you're like, oh, wow, I didn't think about that, right? Or, oh, I didn't know that. That's probably more powerful than anything, when you find something out that you didn't even know was the case, or you learn some new piece of knowledge that actually helps you get out of this problem, right? Okay, no questions. I'm going to go to my my question sheet here, my cheat sheet of questions, because I see people watching, but no one wants to ask a question. Okay. Let's see. It's a good question I can answer here. Here's a good one. Okay, so this is a question around MRIs. And so the question is, oh, sorry, I got one. There we go. I'm not going to answer the MRI question. I'll answer it later. Okay, so the question is, would you say back braces are worth it? Okay, this is an absolutely great question. Okay, so like everything, the first thing I'll say is the back brace will not solve your problem. Okay, however, depending on what's going on in your life, it could be a tool you can use to help get you out of the back pain cycle that you're in. Okay, and I'll give you more context as to why. Okay, so I often tell clients that I work with, for example, if they're in a certain state, like, they haven't gotten over the hump and they're still in pain and they have to do life stuff. So the question about back braces is all centered around, do you have to do something that you can't get out of? That might require, or that the back brace might help you get through without causing more damage to your back, right? And so I'll give you an example. Let's say you have to go travel. You got to go on a flight. You got to carry all this luggage. You got to do all this stuff. And you're so worried because last time you even tried to pick up anything, you blew your back out, right? And you know that's going to hurt your back. In a case like that, on the trip, yeah, get a back brace. Just for the trip though. Okay. If there's a certain type of work that you do that's really intense, and you're able to move for the most part, but sometimes at the end of the day, your back starts to get tired and you need that extra assist so you don't blow your back out. Yes, it would be really powerful. A back brace would be great in that case. Okay. Now, when a back brace would not be good is you're wearing it all the time. You need to wear it all the time. You're not doing any strength training or modifying your life in any way. You're just wearing it to push through. It's essentially a quick fix. And so if you're wearing the back brace all the time throughout the day as a quick fix, then the question of would you say back braces are worth it? No, because it's actually going to be making you weaker. It's going to make you reliant on it, and it probably will make it so the pain never actually goes away. It'll keep you stuck, right? So if it's part of a larger like recovery plan, then a back brace can be something you can use. Just like everything, really, like meds, decompress, all these things. I'm not against any of them. The problem is when they're used just as a quick fix. Okay, so if you use anything as a quick fix, a decompression, a massage, a chiropractor, meds, whatever, dry needling, all that stuff, okay? If you use it as a quick fix, meaning, oh, I just got to get through the next couple days. Oh, I got to get through the week. You will stay stuck in that cycle, okay? Now, if you use those things as part of a holistic approach to changing your life, how are you standing? How are you sitting? Are you moving correctly? Are you pushing through pain? Are you not listening to your body, right? If you're taking in all those factors and you use one of these other things that I mentioned as not a quick fix, but as part of the larger picture, then yes, all those things are good, right? None of them are bad per se. Obviously, it depends. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, next question. I have a herniated disc, L4, L5, almost 2 years now. I had no pain, just my leg numb and heavy. Before 2 months, I had some pain. Now I'm doing running and push-ups. Is it safe? Okay, no, that's a great question. Okay, so now I had no pain in my okay, so right now, just for clarity, sounds like you're saying you have no pain, but you have numbness in your legs, and is push-ups and running safe? Okay, so the question, anytime anyone asks a question like, is something safe? It really depends on the person. So in this case here, I don't have full clarity, but from what I understand is the person who's asking the question has L4, L5 disc issues for almost 2 years, had no pain except for numbness in the leg, and the leg was heavy. And it says before 2 months, I had just some pain, and now, yeah, okay. So the question here is it okay to do push-ups and running? Well, in this case, I would say, I mean, if it's making you have more pain or the pain is increasing, and in this case, numbness, okay? Numbness is a sign that there's compression or something happening with the nerve. It should not be ignored. So I get this another common thing I see all the time. I say, do you have pain? People say, no, my leg's just numb, or no, the numbness increased. When I say pain, that's the same thing. What I'm saying is there some reaction in your body that's changed? And numbness is not a good thing. So we'll just add that to like a negative reaction. And so in this case here, if you're running and you're doing push-ups and that pain is staying the same, or more importantly, it's increasing, it's probably not a good idea. Meaning there's probably a lot of other good things you could do that might actually reduce the numbness and restore some function to your leg, and might actually get some of the nerve from stop being overstimulated by compression or whatever it is. Now, having said all that, you don't want to be scared of movement. So if you're able to do some of this stuff and none of that increases, then okay, that's pretty good, right? If your pain's not increasing, your numbness is not increasing, you feel good after the run, you feel good after doing push-ups, then yeah, like you want to be able to do those things. Just be cautious of the fact that you may indeed, especially with running, push-ups a little safer, but running, you may indeed be making it worse. So just really listen to your body. And then the other thing I would say to you is make sure, like I said about a back brace, is make sure you're actually doing things to help your back recover, to build stability, right? To improve your hip quality, to make sure that your body's functioning in an optimal way, okay? Because again, I'm not quite sure exactly how this happened to you, but the reality is it happened for a reason. It didn't just happen, right? And so you got to make sure that the body's actually functioning optimally. 2 years is a long time. 2 years is chronic pain. And so there may be a lot of other things happening outside of just the nerve being compressed, okay? And so that's a much deeper issue at that point. But like I said, if it feels good and it's not getting worse, then I would say start doing these things. But I would say make sure that you have a true recovery plan in place as well, okay? I hope that answers your question. You feel better after the workout? Great. Keep doing it. If you're feeling better after and the next day, it doesn't get worse again the next day, you're good to go. But like I said, Math Wolf, if you want a free training, which it's it's in the link of this video, or it's just send me I'll put it in the chat right now. It's a free training you can start doing, and these are actual movements and protocols that'll help you, and you can do this alongside the running, alongside the other activities as well. So I would say grab that real quick and just register. It'll definitely make sure you're doing all the things you can and give you some context as to what I'm talking about. Okay, it's free, so you can grab that. Okay, what other questions do we have, or do I got to go to the question cheat sheet, the question submission sheet? So far, our questions are mainly coming from YouTube. I am on Instagram as well. I do go live on both Instagram and YouTube. Okay, I'm going to go to my cheat sheet question. If anyone has a question, just answer it or ask it in the comments. Okay. So yeah, question was about the MRI. So I get a lot of people asking me, should I get an MRI? Like they're saying, hey, I have all these issues. Should I get an MRI? And the answer is yes, you should. If it's easy, if it's again, depending on where you're from, you can afford it, you can do it. If you have any sort of issues with, like nerve stuff shooting down your leg, numbness, tingling, anything like that, you should get an MRI. It's always good to have the imaging. This way you can actually see if you get better later on. Obviously you can see if there's anything worse at play. Very, very important. Okay, so get the MRI. Now the big thing is unless you're a candidate for surgery, the MRI probably won't tell you much. They'll just say, okay, go to physiotherapy. And so the mistake I see people make is actually waiting for their MRI before they do anything about it. They're like, oh, I want to wait for my MRI. And they're just like literally laying there. And I say, it's okay. You can do some basic stuff as long as it doesn't increase your reaction. It doesn't make your leg more sensitive. It doesn't make your tingling, numbing, or pain. So get the MRI, yes. But as I've explained many times before, the one thing is the MRI is an interesting one because some people get an MRI. They've actually did this study. So like they put people in MRIs that didn't have any pain, and then after that, after that, some of those people literally had disc bulges and stuff like that. And then they put a bunch of people with back pain in the MRI, and they didn't have disc bulges. So it just proves that like the pain is not necessarily an indication of what's happening. And again, you could have disc bulges and you could have had them for years before any pain happened. So I always tell people get the MRI, and then after that, again, you can take it from there, I guess, right? So, Math Wolf, you asked another question here. Please, brother, you had the same symptoms before? Yeah. Did I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, I had my leg was completely paralyzed on the back. My foot was asleep. My whole calf, all my hamstring, and most of my glute. I could not feel it, and I couldn't use it. I was limping around. It was crazy. I was sleeping on the ground for about 6 months, like on the carpet, but on the ground. Medicating, anti-inflammatories, CBD. Yeah, it was tough times. I had an inversion table. I had all sorts of stuff. It was dark. It was dark. And so, yeah, I know what you're going through. And this is why I really cautioned you to, take it slow, and definitely grab the program. I don't know if you grabbed it, that's how you knew that I was suffering, or I had been through my own version of sciatic pain, Math Wolf. But yes, I have. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here to help people. I've been through it. I know how it feels. It sucks. But I'm trying to use that experience to help other people, encourage people to do it the right way, lower the amount of suffering that people go through with this stuff. At least that's the goal. And I hope it's helping you. All right. Okay, so again, if you have a question, drop it in the comments. I'm going to go to the question cheat sheet here and see what other ones are submitted that I want to answer. Which one's a good one here? Okay. It's a good one. Here. Let's see. Okay. So the question I will answer is, why does my back pain hurt after I've been resting for days? Okay. So realistically, rest is useful, but like all good things, you can overdo it, I think, is the best way to explain this, right? And so when you first have something happen, you want to make sure that you're not aggravating it more, right? And so you rest, right? You get off your feet, you lie down, you put your feet up, you take some meds, and you're like, okay, I'm going to let this thing calm down. But lying still for days, if it's too long, right, diminishing returns, everything has diminishing returns, you can actually make it worse, right? Because the body at the end of the day thrives on movement. And part of the reason you may actually have had the back issue was because of lack of movement. So imagine now it's actually because you had a lack of movement that you had the pain, right? You don't move that often, and then you go and move and you throw your back out and you're like, what the heck happened? And now you go and rest even more. You're like, oh, I gotta lay down. I gotta relax. You stop moving completely, and then the tissues and the muscles and the blood, like there's less blood flow. The muscles get even stiffer, and then the nervous system, it can stay sensitized, right? Like it just like stays in pain. And so it's difficult because you think, well, if I move, I'm gonna hurt myself more. And in that case, sometimes it hurts the first couple of times you move. And so it really is a very, very nuanced game. It's a game you have to play here. And so if you rest for too long, the likelihood is it's going to be harder to get everything moving and flowing again. And then, like, again, really, if you've been in pain for a while, right, like you've been dealing with this for some time, the nervous system, like it can be really hypersensitive. Okay. And so rest doesn't just turn that off, right? If you're in a hypersensitive state, just like by resting more, you're not going to be like, oh, it's just going to get better. Now it does sometimes, but it's not necessarily going to do that, right? So you need the right inputs. You need to take the right action in this situation. And so obviously safe movement is important. Even just things like breath work or even adjusting your posture. Like a lot of people don't realize, like if they're, if your back is hurt or you've hurt something and you're like sitting in this slouch position, you're wondering why it hurts. Sometimes it's just like, like doing something like that and it can start to feel better. And then this is a better position. Now you can rest and relax into that position, right? Because then everything will start to calm down. Okay. And then chronic pain, if this is chronic, so you're dealing with like a chronic flare up, like you had a flare up, but like you always have pain, it's not like an acute injury. So chronic, it's a long time. Acute is like it just happened, like you banged your thumb with a hammer or something like that. Typically chronic is like a buildup of something, poor movement, stress, lifestyle habits. So it's like, that's like the idea of like, hey, I'm super stressed at work. I don't move. Something bad happens in my life. There's not a lot of good blood flow. I'm in a pretty like shitty state. I'm prone to injury, and then boom, I hurt my back. And then you rest, and then it can kind of like bring that flare up down, but it doesn't necessarily address like what's causing it, what was causing the pain in the first place, right? So what was causing it, you go right back to the stress, the lifestyle habits, the movement or the lack of movement, and it never goes away, right? So you're just kind of like stuck in that same position. The other one is, I kind of talked about this a little bit, but like the idea of the way you're sitting. So we talk about picking the scab, right? So you're making it worse without even knowing it. So even while resting, you can be picking the scab, right? If I talked about how we were sitting there, or you're laying on the couch in a bad way, your breathing is just shallow, or you're sleeping all weird. You wake up. A lot of people, they wake up in the middle of the night, or they wake up in the morning and they feel like crap because the way they're sleeping is reinforcing that pattern, right? So that's another thing as well. And then after you just like at some point, like you can't rest because movement is medicine, right? So obviously not hardcore workouts, not fitness, not running, but again, gentle, intentional movements. Like we talked about walking, obviously without pushing through the pain. Small glute activation or little hip hinges, things that just help your body feel safe again. Okay. And I have a full training on this. It's called the Back Pain Solution if you want it. The link is in the YouTube chat. And if you're on Instagram, just go to my bio. It's at the top there. It's free. It'll show you different things you can do while you're in these flared up states. Okay. So I hope that's helpful. Okay. I have a question here. Would sleeping on a harder surface instead of a typical mattress do much for either pain or spine alignment? Okay. So I just finished saying that I slept on the floor for 6 months when I was going through it because I couldn't sleep on anything soft. It just hurt too much. So this is really going to be one of those things where you have to test it out. So could it? Yes. For some people, I hear that sleeping on harder surfaces is very helpful. Other people, not so much. It really just depends on what's going on, what your pain sensitivity is, what your pain trigger is, right? There's a whole bunch of tips on sleeping. I actually have a sleep protocol. So if you want that sleep protocol, I can send that over to you and it gives you some ideas of positions to sleep in. Okay, I can't quite speak as much to the hot, soft, or hard surface. You'll have to check that out yourself. And again, it depends on like body position, like body composition, what type of body you have. If you can even, are you a side sleeper or not, a back sleeper? So there's all these things that are going to factor in on that. But biggest thing for you is just to try some stuff out. I'm going to put my sleep protocol in the comments here, and then you can grab that so that you can check it out yourself and give it a try. Okay. I'm just trying to find it right now. Then I'll put that in the chat for you here. And again, if you're on Instagram and you're watching this, you're like, hey, I want that as well. Just send me a DM and I will send you the link for that. Okay. Where is this? Sorry, I'm just trying to find it here. Definitely have it. Okay, is it here? Yeah, your computer is a little slower when you're streaming, so I apologize for this. Okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna just send it to you this way. Okay, send this over. It's just gonna be in a Google Doc form for now. Okay, so you'll be able to access it through the link, and inside there, you're gonna see some protocols for sleep and like positions. I'll actually show this. I'm gonna show this to the group here real quick. I'll share my screen and I'll show it to the group here. Okay. So this is it. I'll let it cover my face. But if you see here, this is the sleep protocol. So there's different positions you can try. You can put things under your back here, in between your knees. If you're sleeping on your back, you can do this as well. Okay, so I'll send this. I'll send this in the chat there, so you can take a look at it. Okay, so just give me a second. Yeah, if you toss and turn, it's tough. You'll have to get used to sleeping that way. But I promise, if you can find a way to sleep well, you will definitely be better off in the morning. Trust me on that. Okay, so I am going to stay on for 5 more minutes. So if we have any more questions, let's hear them. Other than that, I will be jumping off the live in about 5 minutes. So any questions, just drop them inside the comments. I will do my best to answer them. You know, when you're doing these lives, there's always this delay. So when I say 5 minutes, and I got to wait like a good, 30 seconds to see if anyone says anything. And that's, that can be tough, because like I'm talking now, but you know, you guys haven't heard this yet. So, yeah, no, you're very welcome. Yeah. That sleep protocol is a game changer. So, okay, I got one here. Is weight training with weights good with degenerative spine disease, lumbar, and neck? Well, yeah. Is weight training good? So, degenerative spine disease is just like you're like, there's degeneration between your discs. You're always going to be better off being stronger, I guess is the best way to put it, right? And so if it's a trade-off between being not hurting yourself and not doing any weights at all, and like strength, I don't want to say weights, but strength training. Okay, strength training can be body weight as well. You're going to be better off doing strength training, yeah, because at least your tendons and muscles are going to be able to support your body better, right? Because your discs and your spine is just one part of the whole piece, right? So now if you have weak muscles as well, and weak tendons, and you're not moving, and your movement quality is bad, yeah, you're going to be worse off, right? So don't worry about degenerative spine disease. First of all, focus on what can you do without instigating more pain that is still building you up. Now, for something like this, I wouldn't recommend general fitness, like just doing like a follow along fitness class. What I would recommend is working with someone, even just like a personal trainer, but just someone who knows like, hey, look, you can tell them, hey, this hurts, or hey, I felt worse after we did this. That way you can modify and regress the movements into a point where they're comfortable for you. Right, just know that whenever you're dealing with anything like that's in your back with nerves, or there's any sort of like chronic pain or issues like that, you want to do something that is regressed, okay, and it's progressive. Something you can regress or progress based off of what level you're at, right? So you'll have a level you start at, and then after you can move forward. But if you try to do something, let's say you're like, okay, I'm going to do weights. Let me just do a squat, and then the squat hurts, and you're like, well, I don't know what to do now. And you're like, oh, I just won't do anything, right? You may be lacking a bit of knowledge, and general strength training and fitness may not be able to fill that gap, okay? So Carmelo, again, if you click on the link in my bio on Instagram, you'll see back pain solution. I have training and protocols that you can do, and I teach you how to regress, progress, and how to do them in a way that's going to allow you to build up over time without instigating more pain. Okay, so give that a try. Jose, can SI weaken your muscle around your waist? I don't know what you mean by SI, but maybe you mean SI joint problems, maybe. I'm not quite sure. But essentially, yeah, I don't want to answer a question I don't really know. But well, what I will say is though, if you do have an injury in your SI joint, where inflammation, for example, or you have inflammation in your lower lumbar discs, for example, or you have pain in those areas, right? The muscles will probably feel really tight, right? They're going to tighten up on you. And it could be a chicken or the egg situation wherein like your muscles weren't strong to begin with. And as a result of that, you start to have SI joint issues, or you have lumbar joint issues, or you're not moving enough, right? That's a lack of movement or a lack of movement quality, how well you're moving, for example. All those things could lead to pain, right? And a lot of times the pain is the last thing. So you could have had weak muscles forever. You could have been months or years of you moving poorly or lifting poorly or sitting too much, and now you have pain, but pain comes last. Pain typically doesn't just come first when it's this type of injury. Okay, and so can an SI weaken your muscles around your waist? Well, if they're spasming up to protect the area, they might feel weak, and they might feel like they're under spasm. But if they're weak, they were probably weak before. Okay, so the injury wouldn't weaken the muscle. It might make you feel weak, but a lot of times this isn't necessarily a strength issue. When you have pain, you can't really express as much strength. So like, for example, you might see someone who's like really big and strong, but they can't move anymore because that pain is so much. They're strong. It's not a matter of strength. Okay, and so for you, Jose, if you're dealing with weak muscles around your waist, that's like your core area. Okay, or your glutes or your glute medius and glute minimus that are up by your, your hip bones there, or just above that in your core. If you're dealing with those types of things, you're going to want to do strength training that's focusing on some stability, maybe. And again, the same process of not pushing through pain is going to be really big. Again, I encourage you to get the back pain solution, which is I linked it up in the comments here. It's on YouTube here. You can actually just grab it. I'll throw it here for you as well. I would get that. Okay. Grab that and oops, sorry, I put the wrong link. Here, this one here. Grab that one there. There's some training in there that can help you with that kind of stuff. Okay. Okay, I am going to sign off. I've been on now for almost 40 minutes. If you do have any questions and you're on YouTube, drop them in the comments of this video and I will reply, or any other video, of course. If you're on Instagram, just send me a DM. I'm always happy to answer questions and help out, okay? I know this can be tough to go through, especially when you're by yourself wondering what the heck do I do? So if I can help, I will. Just shoot me a message and I'll do my best to help, okay? Thank you for participating, and good luck in your healing journey. And I will talk